Hello everyone, and I'm the writer, and welcome back to Destinies. I should probably turn on the ringer so you can hear the audio. I know we finished... I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Are we at this part? I'll read the testimony, see. I think we are. Let's see. Oh, no. Okay, that's the end. Alright, I was very confused there for a minute. Well, I'll save again. Whatever. I'm very savey like that. I blame my issues with saving on Pokemon. Oh my god. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They're claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. So, the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulistic cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try and talk your way out of this. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. It's just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. Oops. I got there for Detective Army, and when she arrived, she fired shots at me. I was afraid people would mistaken me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. And that would work, because you have your... And I then went past the elevators and all the way around to the boarding lounge once again. I came up behind Detective Army, pretending to be the second on the scene. What a troublesome old man you are, with such a convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then... Are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you! No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Mr. Starbuck? I would just have leave him and to take the fall.
That is an excellent point.
I'm not referring this. I get it, man.
Well, it makes some sense if you told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck.
Still, a lie is a lie, Athena.
So Director Cosmos claims he was not the culprit, but where's the proof?
Ah, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes, and... Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you like. They'll collaborate with me. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. And that you arrived at the lounge after that? Yes, I believe it was the person I saw is... Oh, I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling.
As long as he had an alibi. We can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer.
No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to know yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. Okay, what I really witnessed. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door and, well, the launchpad 1 door, and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Well, then how did he get out of there? So, you were shot by the killer as well, and then they disappeared? Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang that must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal.
That was Director Army's bullet, remember?
Right. What a mess this is turning into. So, let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a .10 caliber bullet at him.
Right, but it's actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it.
And then the killer disappeared, and then the director went to the boarding lounge. When Detective Army caught up and fired those warning shots at him,
Judging by his medal, it looks like it's one of them almost took him out too. Good summary, but that does explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit it when I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from the scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos. Silence. I don't think Black was having it. A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbering leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he's said all day! But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was the space boy himself. When he was spotted with the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono? I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up.
Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help?
Huh?
While the director was giving his testimony, I detected the cacophony of discord.
Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us? Huh. This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him.
You got it, boss! I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me.
I do love Widget. I like Athena's aesthetic. I do think she should tuck in her shirt, though. That is strange. Right. Oh. Huh.
Talk about mixed feelings. He must be trying to account for a number of contradictions. Mr. Wright, maybe this time we shouldn't just look for a contradictory emotion. Maybe we should look out for emotions that should be there but aren't.
I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that his mind is a convoluted place too.
He must have felt very shaken and distressed at the time. Let's focus on the fluctuations in emotions and see what we can uncover.
You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did! That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet at the time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? What are you? I could only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impossible. And as for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip through the southern door? I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge, Detective Army came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use.
It's working, boss! One more punch and it'll be a knockout! That seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go and get him!
Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem afraid of the launchpad door. The great Yuri Cosmos? Afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I most certainly not. Director Cosmos, there's something about this launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Wow, he's speechless! It looks like he hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pieces of data, and yes, just what I wanted to see.
Oh, thank God, they went down by 30.
Presto change! Less discord. It looks like we're on the right track.
Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, thinking about the door to Launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he probably is hiding something about the Launchpad 1 door. When we put these 2 pieces together, only one solution to the puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. The culprit went through the Launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes. I mean, no! Disaster to starboard! We're going to crash into the asteroid! A master tactician you are not!
But the area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it?
True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we could just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. But the door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way you could have easily gotten them past the security lock. Just take their prints. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose the killer use this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gone past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found in the device screen. It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Oh, yes, by all means. There's a security camera in the boarding lounge 1, right? Oh, right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then there might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you all think of my logic? Impeccable, Your Honor. Do we need to tell him that it broke? He's actually right, though. I hope you didn't strain your facilities too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point, it breaks, doesn't it? Or something. Yeah, it just breaks. Okay. Oh my, the footage cuts off. The camera was running on a backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely the after effects of the explosion. This is no more footage after this, be it as the criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa Baldness! Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild?
I think his grandchild just learned a little bit about the harshness of the adult world.
Setting aside that issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you please tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. Woo!
They're so cute.
Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Army found you, and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit of unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have an ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. As great men such as myself experiences such surprise on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me? First, when you were surprised when Detective Army found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were, of course, surprised again when she shot you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were... You were surprised when Detective Army shot you, but that surprise felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence the operation. Hide under your desk. Ah! Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. It's better. It's down by 40.
Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door.
And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with this killer's escape.
I wonder what it could be.
If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came into the room and after.
Detective Fullbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see, this footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is the door I looked after the director entered the lounge.
Hey, look at that! There is a change. Something definitely different. Director Cosmos! What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Army found you. That's what. And the answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you have pointed it out already. Just asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. The answer is this knob. No, that's... Your Honor, please take a look at this in the footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what does this mean? It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. Ah! After that scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning the knob by the door? Nah, fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is the safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what?
Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepared for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first.
I guess that clears up what the knob is for.
Oh, and so if the killer escaped the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the Launchpad to the Launchpad site.
I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor.
So then where did the killer escape to?
I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about the moving launch pad in more detail. Fine! But listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. Oh boy. Well, why are you happy when a murder just took place and the thing exploded? I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself. Ah! How did you do it? How did you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology.
I highly doubt that's how it works, Thea. So, can you explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. Confess to your crimes. Ah! How did you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. Time to bluff my way to victory. Is that where this came from? That saying? I don't know. But you have no proof that I had an agenda. And even if I did, I would never tell you. So there! I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. Wow, Phoenix. And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence.
You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. No, not for greatness anyway. Unless you consider this bar-faced liar an honor. Liar!
His words bite harder than his blade.
You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosion. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. Wow! And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene. What? Liar!
So that means the director didn't move the launch pad.
Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Is he okay?
Objection!
But it doesn't make any sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere else. If we can chase down the truth of this issue, we might just find where the killer escaped to. Ah! Oh, shoot, he did that. You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out? Your argument are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not a man enough to, boy? Ah! Really, Phoenix? This gets you?
Haha, talk about hitting him below the belt.
Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have had moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Wait a minute, maybe I have it backwards. What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident, and then after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to the usual spot? All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back, and it would have been right where the police found it. Ah!
You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck.
Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. Our great liar turned the knob only after discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge and when our Astro Wanderers made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on the filmless film. Alright. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it is, boy! Ah!
Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus! We know the launch pad must have been moved.
But our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other.
Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake and taken with body doubles after the incident or something.
That's stretching far.
Second that, that's too far-fetched even for me.
Never actually boarded the rocket. No, they boarded the rocket. Hey, wait a minute, maybe, just maybe.
Huh?
Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you! Okay. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once! You know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was... yeah. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could he possibly have switched with the Launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer comes as clear as day. This is what was switched with the Launchpad 1. Actually, I might finish this case. I might do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish it now. Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has the same functions as Launchpad 1, and can even be moved to the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched from each other. You can't mean! The rocket and the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. How do you make that mistake? What? Dash! Oh, Blackwell, I love you. And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from the boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter the Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2, and set the bomb on the rocket.
Come to think of it, the door to the Space Center Museum and the boarding lounge too. Welcome, welcome! The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
This was a flaw from the beginning. Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. Yeah! After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck onto the boarding lounge 1, waited there and concealed, in the order to kill Mr. Turin when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who, we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, the director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. Oh my god, this seems convoluted as heck. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. No! Right, Dono, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Not as good as his ancestor. Perhaps I should call you Swordsmaster Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence.
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right, you have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor.
If the launch pads were really switched, there might be a record of it somewhere.
At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other.
So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see, this is the image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage?
Huh? That number on the floor! Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff... Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. Right here in the footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then. Answer this for me if you would. What in the footage proves that this corridor belongs to the Space Museum? There is the number 1 on the floor in the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor corridor in the security footage. You see the number 4 behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? Because what you see is actually a part of it too. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Gah!
And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke.
That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosions occurred in Launchpad 1, on the side opposite to the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery of the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level to the middle level. Just incredible! 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Not in the event of a crime. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Oh, thank God we never have to deal with this man again. I don't like him. He's still not my favorite witness. Well, look at that. Wait, how does it reveal the image? Who cares? Bye-bye! I love Widget. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. Yeah! My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. Oh, for the love of God. No, not that way. Those doors are not as strong as they look. At least that's what this is telling me. Bailiff, on your steed, and after that witness. I've never seen such nonsense like that before. Well, that is just me, I guess. Well, you better confess now, buddy. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit to switching the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. Oh, it's good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of the surroundings thanks to the medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum. That's actually true. That it hadn't been switched with Launchpad 1. So, my first question is the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on the dramatic display? As for the second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent, but I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught up in that blast.
The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain.
Probably not a good time to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff helped the director retrieve his stars. Okay, that's kind of weird. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? Oh god, I forgot this voice. I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? At the very beginning, you never meant for the launch pad to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck? Starbuck, my boy, I'm so sorry. I can't tell you the reason why, but I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? That's kind of sad. That's all he was working towards, too, and Clay died for that. Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. The dream is still alive. Well, that's good. What a happy end to a case.
Silence.
Okay, that was timed well. Why are you angry? You're not going into space, Starbuck. But prison, I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there was a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any other proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What? Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast upon your blood. No! If I'm gonna die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck. Prepare yourself. Oh my god, are we gonna see a murder in court? No, you know violence is the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Oh, that annoying, cheerful laugh. It cannot be none other than... yeah, this man. Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fullbright here. In justice we trust. Detective Fullbright! Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady across the street. And then I had to pick up a cat fight. Or break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice is sure a full-time job. Is it a fight between cats, or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure of that. Justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fullbright, I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But you have finally succumbed. Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to the phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence.
I'm skipping this flashback.
I didn't think he was serious, though.
So what is it, detective? Is it something that proves Mr. Starbuck is innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. Is that blood on the lighter? What's this, a lighter? That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit in this. Space Museum is cleaning robots. Picked it up. It has the victim, Clay Tarrant's blood, along with the killer's fingerprints on it. What? Gah! Well, that ought to change a few things, I think. Order! Detective Fullbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I needed. Is it though? Your Honor, This is the decisive evidence that supports the defense's claim earlier. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall what this lighter was found? Based on that, we can extrapolate after the killer murdered Mr. Tarrant, they escaped with the lighter handed to the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally the killer left with the Boiling Lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the Boiling Lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop that lighter there.
Silence.
But the defendant had free reign of the air until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during the span of that time?
Objection.
You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified to the right. After he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went to the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this letter could have only been dropped by the real killer. More importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints are nowhere to be found on this letter. I think you understand what that means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we could assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand the urgency because tomorrow...
Silence.
Fullbright, you promised never to speak of that. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. Oh, really? Oh, well, there we go. Wait, so was that the end of this case? I could have sworn this was longer. Well, either way.
Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright.
Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fullbright, no less. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. He kinda left. You're all the best.
Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now.
Yeah, me too. But that's gonna have to wait. Now that the verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Really? I could have sworn this was...
Objection.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I think this face will never not be funny to me. Why are you upset? It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. The prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fullbright! What were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Ah! Ah! Well, I was in a hurry, you see. Then there was the cat bite, and, well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck, so... You have yet to read it. Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out the prints, who the prints belong to? Oh no. Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. So says the report. What? What? Huh?
Me?
Oh, I love this moment in the game. This was funny. Well, not really funny, but it did take a turn, because I thought Athena was a killer. Oh, that just... Nah, frick it. The game's been out for 10 years. Order, I say order. Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this letter could belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only give us one grave conclusion.
I don't know what they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. I'll take my own defense!
This can't be good. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? Ah, what have I done? Please forgive me, I'm sorry! Order, order! Detective Fullbright, stop your crying! What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad! Order, order! I will have order! Well, Athena's getting arrested. Wow, Apollo's gone, Athena got arrested? We only have Trucy. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. And after all we fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crime. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of our reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. I think that's the end of this case now, because that makes much more sense. Remember there was being some kind of dramatic twist. Yeah, okay, so then we're on the last case, and then we have one more, and this is why I chose to finish this game as opposed to the Great Ace Attorney. Yeah, turnabout for tomorrow. I don't think there's a cutscene. Please don't be a cutscene. I would be ever thankful if there wasn't a cutscene. Hi everyone, so the letter footage kind of got ruined, but it's okay. I was going to start off the next episode with the cutscene and continuing on from there. Either way, that is all for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye!